Welcome to Recovering Addict. I'm LT, your host on this Sunday evening of serenity and sobriety. I hope you guys all had a great weekend and a happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, especially the fathers who have overcome addiction and are now onto the healthy path. I am one of them who have spent this Father's Day sober, the first one in a long time. Normally, I would be pretty close to pass out drunk by now, if not already, or completely making a fool out of myself. We'd probably be at some barbecue somewhere. This was last year, or maybe we're out on the deck. Either way, I would be close to a fifth deep into a bottle of whiskey by now.
Yep, I'm Felice Weaver, your co-host. Talking makes me want to cough, so I'll do my best.
Good luck with that.
I'm Link Weaver, your co-host. How's everybody doing tonight?
Cocoa host. Where's your hot chocolate, bud?
Some hot cocoa.
It is Sunday, and I hope to be your voice of serenity. I hope to help you stay sober through another hour, because us addicts and our concept of time, we can't think too futuristic. That's why we say just for today or 24 hours a day. And if it's even harder than that, sometimes we just take it minute by minute, hour by hour. And that's what we got to do, especially in the beginning. If you're still suffering addict, you found the right place. We are here to help you. There's a great community behind this channel, not just us. We're a bridge to this community on our private Facebook group. We got Discord. Everything's free of charge. Just jump in and help yourself stay sober. Take care of yourself. Get your mind right. Get your head right. And let's understand what the heck got us into the situations that we got us in. This channel is a facility to learn about addiction, to learn and help support each other through addiction, and to understand why we were addicted. And then once we start understanding that stuff, once we start seeing that things inside us, it helps us from the future from making those decisions again, or manipulating ourselves down the wrong path. We get to learn relapse prevention here. We've gone through 3 books. We're actually on our 3rd book. It's called Addictive Thinking, Understanding Self-Deception. We are on chapter 15. Wow, we're on chapter 15, page 87. We're going to talk about what's up with addicts. We all crave social connections. We all crave friendships. We all crave that kind of stuff. Introverted or extroverted, it's built inside us, humanity. But as addicts, we're a little more sensitive type of people on the inside. If we're happy, we're extremely happy. If we're depressed, we're extremely depressed. And because of those kind of attitudes and thought processes in our addictive thinking, it leads us to not daring to get out to make social connections. And so due to that, we build a wall that eventually becomes a prison. And if we do it with addiction and doing drugs, it can lead us to dark places, death, and suicide, which are not good, which is why during this time of COVID and rioting and this unsure world we live in, we learn the tools of just for today, 24 hours a day, enjoying this moment, plan for the future, but enjoy today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm going to let Felice say hi to everybody up in this chat.
Hello. So this is Teeter here talking to Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
We got Cherie.
She won't be here tonight. It's okay.
No, she's going to catch up tomorrow. Dwight, hello. Good evening. Happy Father's Day, all you fathers out there. Hey, Derek. Hi, Grandma T.
Hi, Mom. That was a cool Zoom meeting with you.
Yeah, I'm really enjoyed telling you hi. Tyrone.
What's up, Tyrone? How you doing, brother?
Good evening. Desmond, hello. Brittany's here. Say hey to the family. I told you I can't talk. Hey, Marcus.
JJ Johnson.
Yep. We got Murd. Hello, Murd.
What's up, Murd?
Hey again, Teeter.
I just saw you.
Bob.
Right on, back. Bob.
Chapter 15, Bob.
We need your wisdom and insight today.
Dwight says, what up, Link?
What's up?
Link loves the shirt.
It describes me.
He's got so many scars on that head and face that he had to get that shirt Scarface.
Yeah, it's so funny. Who's the new hairstylist, Linky?
It just happened in the bathroom. I thought I should go Wolverine, and I combed it down.
Alicia, hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Awesome pictures on the Discord. Made me jealous.
Over.
Wish we would have went for a hike.
Ooh, hike sounds good. Hi, Silent. Love you, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Can't wait to see
Miss you, bud.
Kyle's in the house.
What's up, Kyle?
We got Merk. Yep.
Yeah.
Petey.
Yes.
hello again.
Happy Father's Day. Happy
TJ.
Father's Day.
Oh, Bob's got things to say.
Go ahead.
My pastor and the praise team knocked it out of the park this morning. I got all choked up. The message was about love, and he ended it with this heart-wrenching video. Miss Daisy went to church with me. Awesome. Very cool.
Right on, Bob.
Is that our real living room? If it is, holy cow, that's amazing.
Go sit on the couch, show Xylem. Is that our real living room?
That's it, bud.
It does look green screeny, doesn't it?
There he is back there. Lynn B. I haven't
Hey,
seen you
what's
forever.
up?
I was just asking about you the other day.
Yeah. How you been?
Glad you're here.
What's going on with you?
Oh, we got Lorianne.
Hey, Lorianne. How are you?
Hendrickson. Welcome, Lorianne.
Glad you're here. Nice to see you.
Aubrey's always in the house. Love
Welcome,
him because we recover better together.
Aubrey's awesome.
He's his nice shirt, bud. All right. I think I got
Who's
everybody.
the special lady, Link? See what Mark said?
No, oh, right here.
Yeah.
Oh, because that nice slick hairdo. He reminds me of like some sort of greaser.
John Travolta.
Yeah. Had our first in-person church service. It was great. Awesome.
Awesome, dude.
Very cool. Hey, Sky.
What's up, Sky?
Beautiful
Welcome.
as always. Ooh.
All right, let's get into this June 21st AA thought for the day.
Oh, good. Good. Glad you're doing good.
Yeah, we're glad you're doing. We were just talking about you the other day. Like, I haven't seen Lynn B for a while. Hope she's doing good.
Smiling. Yeah, who's a special lady? Oh, Tracy's here. Hey, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
Welcome.
Good to see you. John Travolta. Intelligent faith in a power greater than ourselves can be counted on to stabilize our emotion. It has incomparable capacity to help us look at life in a balanced perspective. We look up, around, and away from ourselves, and we see that 9 out of 10 things at the moment upset us will shortly disappear. Problems solve themselves. Criticism and unkindness vanish as though they had never been. Here's our question for the day. Have I got the proper perspective toward life? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. A truly spiritual man or a woman would like to have a serene mind. The only way to keep calm in this troubled world is to have a serene mind. The calm and sane mind sees spiritual things as true realities and material things as only temporary, fleeting. That sort of mind you can never obtain by reasoning, because your reasoning powers are limited by space and time. That kind of mind you can never obtain by reading, because other minds are also limited in the same way. You can only have that mind by an act of faith, by making the venture of belief. I pray that I may, this is our prayer of the day, I pray that I may have calm and a sane mind. I pray that I may look up and around and away from myself. And right now I am reading from the, what's it called here? What is this thing called? 24 Hour a Day by Halsden.
Huh. Sweet. Lynn B's at 173. Woo-hoo. Awesome.
Does that mean you're gaining or losing? Because I know that you loved being super skinny.
No, 173 days.
Oh. I thought she was like, I'm gaining weight. You know what she said. Sorry, Lynn. It got me all discombobulated.
Classic my mistake.
There's me talking before I think.
He's like, Lynn B, weight loss. Got it.
Well, I just picture her all the time on a treadmill and working out.
Oh, funny. You guys make me laugh. Ricky, welcome, Ricky. Ricky in the house. Raylan, you look new. Hello. Nice to see you today.
It's for you.
Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. We have these little brown box elder bug things everywhere.
They're actually elm bugs.
Because we have them. Natalia, welcome.
Oops, go ahead, sorry.
She's laughing at you.
Lynn. Sorry. Oh, jeez.
This is too funny. She's still exercising every day.
Good.
Good for you.
Leaps of faith, man. I'm about to take a leap of faith tomorrow. I'm doing it. Like I've told you before, we are
I need to go open up.
doing away with all of our debt, which we just did. We finished off all our debt. The only thing we have is the house and a stupid motorhome we should have never bought. But now our bills are manageable. Very, 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 very manageable. The house and your typical, clean, your typical, that's still loud way
Oh,
over
I
there.
don't even care.
Like in the microphone. There,
I've been over
you
it
just blew
since I
their
was
speakers.
12.
You just blew all their speakers.
That's just the noise it makes, okay, fans? That's just the noise it makes. I blame my mom. She blows the same way.
So do I.
And my plan is to first thing, put in my 2-week notice tomorrow. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on that. Once that happens, I'm going to go straight into getting my peer support tech certificate and on to whatever I got to do to become a counselor after that. And I'm not worried about the money aspect. That'll come as far as like a job being a counselor or whatnot. And in the meantime, if we need money, I can work odd jobs. I'm not worried about that. I'm a handy kind of man and can build things and do construction if I had to. But we're not worried about it. I'm going to, like I said, this channel was part of my relapse prevention plan. YouTube has always been a hobby of mine and nothing that I ever did desired to like go and try to become a YouTuber, But my first YouTube upload was actually in 2008. YouTube was made in 2006. I made my first video upload in 2008. Went and filmed my kids up in there. And
Surprise.
what?
Did
Just
you
kidding.
talk to your mom about this?
No, I did not talk to her. This is the first time I'm telling anybody. I talked to Felice about it today, and we just said we know when it's going to be right. We know God will allow that time. And it just right now, it just feels like it's the right time. If it happens, we'll be fine as far as finances go. And the future, I want to be able to spend full time doing this type of work, constructive addiction outreach. I want my time to be free. If I leave the house, I can go downtown and serve the community in the same aspect that Frank does. That dude is so inspirational to me. I'll take some pages. I take pages out of anybody's book. If you guys are doing something that's inspiring to me that I could pull from you and do in our community, you bet your booty I'm going to do that. Like Gary V, I posted a little link on the Facebook group that he always says, if you don't know what to do in life and you have a passion for one or two things, flip a coin, pick one, and don't look back. So I'm kind of taking that in an aspect. But getting my peer support tech is priority number one after the 2 weeks. My counseling will slowly pour in after that. And building this recovering addict nonprofit to a digital global community plus local help for downtown addicts and suffering addicts in the capacity of relapse prevention. You did an IOP, you did in-house treatment, you've done the 12 steps. Now what? I want to be the now what. This is what we do. This is how we further along our education. A place where we can hold AA and NA meetings, a facility to where we can send out people to talk at schools and we can raise, 3 or 4 conferences a year and have speakers and bring this huge awareness to addiction. I mean, we have billboard signs that says there's an opioid epidemic. That's awesome, but let's actually physically go start doing things about it. How does that look? How's it going to play out? I don't know. I was telling Aubrey the other day, I woke up, my 501c3 came back. This is an actual nonprofit now. And I'm like, well, now what? Now what? I honestly feel like now what? And I guess now what is to free myself from the time and pursue my peer support tech. I think that's where I'm at in life right now, bro.
Derek missed it.
Bros.
What are you doing? Are we going on a trip?
Oh, no, I'm putting in my 2-week notice tomorrow, man. Quitting a job, a government job with 10 years of benefits and good pay. But yeah, y'all keep me in your prayer. Keep me in your prayers.
That's coolish.
All that kind of stuff. Oh, really? That's really cool.
Oh, and by the way, great topic. I can relate to isolating myself.
Yeah.
Susan.
That's a great segue
into
our book.
Addictive Thinking, Chapter 15, if y'all are following along.
So it's your first time here. We go through educational books to help us better understand ourselves. The better we understand ourselves, the better we are going to use ourselves for others to help and to actually better ourselves to not ever relapse again. We'll start understanding the process of our minds as they drift. You're either on the road to recovery or you're on the road to relapse. When you're on that road to recovery and all of a sudden you start drifting to the road to relapse, you're going to catch those. There's warning signs. And the more we know, the more educated we are on this, the sooner we see these signs, the sooner we can pull ourselves back to the road to recovery. And guess what? If you continue to do this, which is a battle the rest of our lives, us addicts, alcohol and meth for me, and any other drug that was around while I was doing either of those two, I don't ever have to go back to doing. Never, ever have to go back to the insanity of the cycle of addiction that I spent, 6-7 years full-blown alcoholic. And then the few years I spent full-blown meth addict tweaker, which got me into prison or jail. And then the other one got me into a hospital.
Thank you, Aubrey.
What do you say? You have a heart like a lion, and you're better half in your ballpark. You're beautiful kids, and you have us. Amen, Aubrey. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Tracy.
Yep, let's break that stigma, huh?
We do need more people out there.
All right, the confining wall. Before we get started and jump into this, remember a few shows ago, you know how us addicts
Rewind.
have a low, what happened to the AA thought of the day? Oh, we read it, brother. We read it.
Okay, go ahead.
But we have a low self-esteem, right? We have a hard time accepting compliments, and we'll see that in this book here too. And remember I said, if we come across addicts and we see positive things that they are doing, to immediately praise them for that. So right now in the comments, think about yourself and post some one of your strengths, something positive about yourself, something that you may have a talent for, something that you may be good at physically, something, anything. Give me one positive thing about yourself right now. Think about you. Don't ask nobody. I want you to see it inside yourself and say, you know what? I'm good at this. And throw it up on the screen. I want everybody to start thinking positively about themselves more often than we do. And not sarcastically. It's easy to, I just had that emotion, like, why don't you say something positive about yourself then while you're talking about it? And I had that immediate to make a joke out of it and then say something sarcastic and make myself, something negative, but try to make it funny. That's not good either. Something positive about ourselves. Something positive about me would be, my leadership skills. I've been told that a million times, and I see that in myself. I ran from it for years and years. I had multiple opportunities to capitalize on my leadership skills, and I always ran from it because I was scared, but I'm not going to do that anymore. And so me being a positive, good leader is one positive thing about me. But the confining wall, chapter 15, it says, given the emotional sensitivity, poor self-esteem, morbid expectations of addicts, remember our morbid expectations, we're always thinking doom and gloom. It is understandable why they may try to protect themselves from anticipated discomfort. So we have already this addictive thinking, we have this low self-esteem, we have this bad self-image of ourselves, and then we have this overwhelming feeling of failure. We have this overwhelming feeling of doom and gloom in the future, right? Like, oh, something bad. Everything's going good right now for me. Something bad's going to happen. And a lot of times we self-destruct, and it's done by self, right? Addicts expect to be put down, criticized, or rejected.
Yes, Bob.
What?
Chapter 15.
Yeah, page 87. I'm on the first paragraph. We expect to be put down, criticized, or rejected. And this is how we approach social situations, right? With this morbid expectation, this low self-esteem, and this high desire to protect ourselves from this type of pain. So to defend our psyche against the pain that this causes, many addicts, tell me if you relate, build a protective wall between themselves and the rest of the world. Lynn B's good at exercising.
Yep.
Make sure you say what they're good at. Peter, right on. I am worried about the state of the country as well, Lynn B.
We'll get back to that question, Bob.
What is the next book we're going through? I should order it now. Yeah, we are ripping through this one. I will, Bob, give me a minute and I'll bring the next book we're going to go through. So although isolation, oh wait, where were we? Oh yeah, because we build a wall around ourselves, right? Many addicts are self-described loners. Indeed, the only way they can associate with others without discomfort is when they have anesthetized themselves with chemicals. We are not under the influence. When we're not under the influence, we may withdraw passively or keep people at a distance by being self-righteous, hypocritical, or obnoxious. So we have defense mechanisms for when we're not high and we don't want to go into that social crowd because we're fear of being hurt. But when we do go into these social settings, a lot of us had to get high or drunk to go there. And that was me a lot during my alcoholism. When I was on meth, that was just, I wanted to stay high 24/7. And that was it. I didn't care to go anywhere unless there was dope in the house. But in my alcoholic isolation, the way that I did to myself, if we were going to a barbecue, if we were going to a baseball game, if we were going out to eat, if we were going to a movie, no matter what we did or where we went, I had to catch a buzz before we left the house, and I had to have a secret pocket full of whiskey somehow hidden in any type of drink cup to hide the fact that I was drinking in public.
Hi, Jake. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, Jake?
Hi, friends.
Sorry I hadn't been on, but been pretty busy with it. Oh, good for you. I'm doing great working on my 70 days strongly. Well, amen, brother. Good job. I'm glad you're doing that. Good. That is positive. That is so positive. Hey, we're asking everybody to post something positive about themselves in the comments. Tell us something that you know that you do well. Fleece is dying in the bathroom now. So although isolation spares the addicts, because this is the porcupine index, right? This is kind of going to relate us to being like porcupines. Although isolation spares the addicts from the anticipated discomfort inherent in associating with others, it also deprives them of the companionship they crave. So isolation, we purposely build walls around ourselves, and that protects us from possibly getting hurt. But at the same time, it deprives us of the companionship and friendships that we crave. We might say that the addict is in a dilemma because of a high porcupine index, is what he calls it. The addict is in this dilemma. The addict is like the porcupine who wishes to be in contact with other porcupines, but feels that their quills will sting. Coming too close is painful, but keeping too distant is lonely. The porcupine must therefore calculate how to approach to achieve some companionship while avoid being hurt. How many of you feel that way? Huh? I can relate to this.
I'm dying, Lynn. I feel like I'm dying.
We all got allergies like a week ago, which turned into a sinus infection and now is resting in our chest. Amber says, what?
Congestion. All here. Amber, where's Amber?
Heck yeah, that counts. Crafting is creativity.
Crafting's awesome.
That means you have to look through multiple sources of things and put them together, you know. We have a friend, my buddy Mark's wife, Penny. She's really good at crafting. And the stuff that goes into that, I couldn't do it. That was just too much tedious for me. But to pull stuff all like that out of multiple sources and these little just bins of buttons and all kinds of clippings and glue and make something awesome and beautiful, that's a very talent. That shows you're creative, patient. That's a great thing. Good job. I'm proud of you.
Crafting's awesome. Let's try crafting. have moats with alligators, not just walls.
Bob's built a full-fledged prison.
I need to invite Crocodile Dundee to your house.
Good at painting guns. Oh, yeah. Is that the one that looks like
That's
an
cool.
A10? It's got the...
The shark thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. It looks like a freaking warthog.
If I had a gun, I'd ask you to paint it.
That's talent and skill for sure.
Derek wants to start a YouTube channel about Bible. That would be awesome.
Hey, Derek, if you want, connect with me. Here's my email address. If you need any tips or whatever on YouTube, I would love to help you out with anything you got going on there. Would love it.
My service work with Hearts and Hands Ministry and helping others. Yeah, that's awesome that you do that, PD.
That's selfless.
Start
That's
doing that around here.
That's not being selfish. That's like, instead of staying home and watching Netflix for 4 hours, you leave the house and you go and serve other people. Selflessness is a great character asset.
Yeah. Pink Floyd, another brick in the wall worth watching.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I read that. That's twice. I like being alone though. Hope you feel better. Thanks.
A lot of people do like being alone.
Annoying.
They're introverted, but they're even alone are still craving some type of fellowship, and it's just the way we're made. We're built to be social beings, and we look for. I started digging into this, reading a bunch of articles, and it could have got so psychologically deep that I was like, well, I ain't got. I would have taken the rest of the week to get into why we crave fellowship, or even on the smallest levels of why we create friendship or crave friendship.
Huh. Kyle can relate to you minus the meth. You guys have a lot in common. Relates every night.
That's awesome, dude.
Good to be relatable.
Yeah. Too bad you're not closer. We're not closer to you. We can hang out.
I've been looking at this in
Self lately?
lately in psychology. I would be diagnosed with avoidant personality disorder, or avoidant for short. It's all about walls, keeping people away from myself. Yeah. At least you're here with us, Bob.
So while the defensive
Hi,
walls, hey Cassie, what's up? So while the defensive walls that we're talking about are built to protect us, right? Built to protect us from the stings of the outside world, they are also very confining, frustrating the intense human craving for friendship. The wall that was built for protection thus becomes a prison. Much of the addict's behavior reinforces the isolation, the lying, disappointment, manipulating, resenting, criticizing behaviors causes other people to shun him or her. I'll get through this and I'll speak on that thought I was just thinking. So the anger, self-centeredness, inconsideration, the irresponsibility make the addict's company undesirable. Although addicts act in ways that make other people avoid them, they nevertheless resent the isolation that results. So even though during our act of addiction, and I'm sure a lot of you have felt it and been there, I know I have on many levels, because of my disappointing, manipulating, resenting, criticizing, my self-centeredness, my inconsideration and irresponsibility, I pushed a bunch of people away. And yet, we still resent others for the isolation that we produced ourselves. Loneliness becomes more grist of the mill. Another reinforcer of their poor self-image, and addicts trying to escape by increasing the use of drugs and chemicals, perpetrating a vicious cycle. We use drugs and alcohol to extents that we become people we don't like to be through our actions, our character defects, or lying, manipulation. It pushes everybody away. We're alone. We don't like it, so we use drugs and alcohol. We look out, we're alone, and and it's just a cycle that repeats itself through addiction.
That's true. Do you want to hear what Connie had to say? I always had a very hard time letting people in my life because early on, I lost people in my life who should have been there for me. That's a bummer.
Shutting out family and friends. I don't want to move too fast through this. We only have like 4 more paragraphs to go through this chapter. But I want to kind of bounce on to what Connie's thinking there. If you want to describe more of what your thoughts are on that, what do you mean you lost people in your life who should have been there? What do you mean by that? Losses and deaths and tragedies, and you got close to them, and they, that kind of sadness and grief of loss, or what do you mean by you lost people that should have been there? And what do you mean by should have, and why should they have been there? If you can expand on that, I'd love to know. If you want, up to you, if you want to.
Oh, hi, Shauna. Shauna's in the house. I don't think I told you hi. She's telling Amber hi.
Hey, Shauna. Good to see you.
Kyle's talking about his painting job. It does look cool.
Burp, burp. Heck yeah, it is.
Because I've been hurt a lot, so it's hard for me to get close to others.
Now we're all the porcupine index on that one, right? So now we've built walls because we don't want to feel that pain again. How do we get over this? How is this something we can do to get over it? Is this where we start learning about our omniscience and thinking that we're powerful? Some people aren't going to, how it's acceptance. We have to accept that when we put ourselves out in the world, there's that possibility of getting hurt. And when we do get hurt, do we understand enough about psychology, character defects, addictive thinking, human nature, for one, to understand that the person that's hurting us, like I put that quote on there today, that is, if people are bringing negativity into your life, they're hurting. And then I think it was Chad that commented on it, hurting people bring hurt, something like that.
In my opinion, I think the key is realizing that nobody's perfect. And I think a lot of times we put these super high expectations on other people, expectations that we ourselves wouldn't even be able to live up to. And then when they break those expectations, we get hurt.
That's a very good point. What are your expectations to the people that you meet or to the people that you're around? And if they don't live up to and half the time when they get hurt, I've recently experienced this, we don't even know the expectation that they've put on us to live up to. Had we known it, could we have acted a little different? Or would that just be weird to have somebody expecting from you like that anyway? But those hidden expectations inside our heart when we meet people, if they don't live up to it, we're hurt, and that causes conflict in our relationship. And then to have somebody put expectations on you, think about it on the other side. You don't even know that there's expectations that are waiting for you to live up to, and then you fail to live up to them and they attack you. That's a good point. That
and then
happens.
You're not even sure why they're mad at you.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, okay, sorry.
What'd Connie say?
Back to Connie. No, just people letting me down, like dad and brothers.
Dad, brothers, also lots of loss. I experienced the same thing too with my dad, with family. I was actually
hurt people.
Hurt people. Yeah, that's what it was. Hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say?
Where? Right here?
Yeah, I want to hear this Merc and Merc thing. Oh, you relapsed 2 days ago? Oh, no, brother. I drank beers and got a little wasted. I was 34 days sober and blew it. That's what I'm talking about, everybody. I'm sure the people that have been here the longest that know my little cycles of stuff that I say, but that 34 days, like everybody that gets that 30-day mark, I say, warning, 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 pull up. The airplane's going down possibly. And that's because for some reason between 30 and I've seen it and I continue to see it over and over and over and over again. And here's another example. Our heart goes out to you, and I compassionately say this to you, brother. Between 30 and 60 days, there is a freaking bump in the road. There's something in our self-confidence that kind of goes up, and we feel like we got power and control again. Our addictive thinking starts kicking back in. We don't realize, but we've left that road to recovery. Maybe if we forget where we're going. But something in your addictive, like even Felice was looking into the chemical side and how it messes with the brain. Your brain starts rewiring itself, and it has a lot to do with a lot of things. But between 30 and 60 days, I tell, even 90 days, 30 to 90 days, I tell everybody at that moment, between those periods of time, you got to up your recovery game. Whatever you weren't doing the first 30 days, start doing. If you have to get up a little earlier to pray, If you have to read a couple extra chapters out of the big books per day, if you need to, not if you need to, I suggest you go, and because you may not even realize it's happening, hit an extra couple meetings a week. Do something. Get in contact with your sponsor an extra time a week. Do something, because at 47 days, I experienced the same thing, and I've seen it over and over through multiple people. The 30 to 90 day mark, there is a bump in the road, and 95% of the people relapse. And when I say relapse, it sounds like you just had, I look at lapse and relapse, right? There's a lapse, which you did, you relapsed, your thinking went backwards, and you ended up drinking. Somehow you talked yourself into that being a good idea at the moment. And then you got relapse, like full-blown relapse, to where you could have just disappeared for a month or two. Or you could have OD'd or drank yourself to death. I don't know, you just drank. So it's not like you're going to kill yourself that time. But, man, I'm glad you're back here. I'm glad you told on yourself. That's good. But we're here for you. Just pick yourself back up. Get yourself another white chip. Get yourself another white key tag. 24 hours, you got it, man. I'm sure everybody in the chat will say the same thing. We're here to support you, man.
This is what Murd and
Mr. Red.
this guy pronounced it correctly.
That's funny.
He said he's back on the wagon. Right.
What?
Here. Back on the wagon.
Back on the wagon again. Good, brother. Let's get more intense with that recovery, huh?
Yeah, it does. We lose a lot of people in our addiction as we can push them away. Yeah.
A big time.
Keep working it, Wog. You got this.
Yeah, we are all here for you, brother.
Yeah, proactively end relationships if I sense any trouble. The tiniest cloud of the horizon, and I'm in the wind. You be saying, Bob who?
Bob
what
who?
about Bob?
What about Bob? That's a great show.
Watch out. Shoot. Made me laugh. I recently blocked my cousin on my phone because he said something that enraged me. Not going into details, but it was political.
And that's another thing too. Yeah, people's opinions different, and depending on your moral stance in life, yeah, that's a tough one. That is a really tough one, because especially the way the world is right now, Facebook's so toxic. I still do, but I've limited big time, and luckily I've become more of a creator of content rather than a consumer of content, and so I don't just flip through Facebook like I used to. But on the days that I do flip through Facebook, man, by the time I'm done, I'm almost emotionally drained. It's so toxic. And I do the unfollow thing when I don't like any stuff, but man, alive, that'd be almost everybody. It seems like.
Just have to realize people have different opinions, and they're going to have their opinions, and you have yours, and that's what makes the world go. So makes the world so unique, is everybody's different. It'd be boring if we're all the same. My wall has gotten so thick, I only leave them for emergencies. This platform in my life line outside my walls right now, and I'm okay with that for now.
Baby steps. Talking about what about Bob? Baby steps.
There you go, Nance. PD hooked you up. Not sure why, but my sister decided to tell my dad that I went into detox last September. She said he was proud of me, but baffled why she went and done that.
Donna did you not want your dad to know?
Yeah. I have my opinions on why, but I don't know. God put people in our lives sometimes for a reason, sometimes for a season. Only time will be shown in me.
Amen. That's absolutely truth.
Yep.
It is hard, Wog, but we're here. We got you back, brother.
Honeymoon period, Wog. Yeah, that article I read, it said something about 30 days your brain goes into survival mode. And that's when you really got to start battling.
It is 8:40, and you know what time it is.
Good evening, my recovering addict family. Let me start out tonight by saying happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and a special happy Father's Day to LT and my daddy here. Happy Father's Day, guys. Love you so much. Mwah. All right, so here's the quote of the evening. Success isn't about being the best and winning the race. Success is about handling the worst and finishing the race. That one was anonymous. And you see my little partner back there. That's my godson, Javian. Say hi, Jay. He's my little sidekick tonight.
Nice.
So that's all, guys. I love you so much, and let's bring it together, and we're going to continue to spread that love.
I love it. What up, little dude and little baby? Super cute.
It's true, man. Finishing the race after having gone through all of those hard times, that is success.
Yeah. Psychology says avoidant personality cannot be cured. Only mitigated through constant effort. I'll probably die like this, but for the grace of God, I'm hanging all my hope on that. A miracle. Well, maybe that right girl will come along and she won't leave, no matter how much you push her.
Maybe Bob is a girl.
Maybe. That's not a girl. When I think of walls, I think of the Creed song, My Own Prison. I can relate to that song. My walls can be real big at times. No one can get in. Yeah. We've all got them walls, huh?
So addicts withdraw from the outside social contact is bad enough. But the problem is aggravated when they build a defense wall at home. Addicts often find that physical withdrawal is not easily achieved. And so behavioral tactics become the only available defense. And this often results in abusive behavior towards those addict loves most: the spouse, the children, parents, and siblings. So to put up our walls, sometimes we become complete jerks just to push them away, like Bob was talking about earlier. Thank you, Gypsy.
Thank you.
What was the rest of it? I'm not ready to go. That's okay. Addicts waiting on the Suboxone treatment, but the virus taking forever. Yeah, I hear you. Right, physical plus physical for me. Good job on you. Keep it up. Proud of you. So initially, the addict's expectation of rejections are based on misperceptions. Our rejections are based on misperception and become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because addicts think so poorly of themselves, they think other people will reject them too. So my first thought when I wrote on here, I put, don't reject addicts, love them. Us, in the spirit of step 12, right? Carry the message. We're putting ourselves in situations where we have other addicts come in. Let's not be the person that rejects them. You know, that whole principle before personality thing happens. A lot of us, we judge each other. I mean, it doesn't matter what color we are, nothing, right? It's a person who's approach, the way that they carry themselves, the way that they sound, the way that they talk, the way that they, and just their instant, your first impression of somebody, you could reject them on that first impression. Let us addicts, us right here, right now, me and you, make a vow to not, when we know there's an addict not hurting, to just not reject that person. They're already having enough harder time because they've already socially isolated. They know that when they put themselves in those positions, they're expecting to get rejected with our morbid thinking and all that. So as the defensive maneuvers increase, the anticipated rejection is no longer fantasy. People do avoid them, which in turn reinforces their poor self-esteem. So because of the way we act, the way that we think, we push people to reject us. They reject us. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We've anticipated it. We know it's going to happen. People do avoid us. And then that reinforces, yep, I'm a piece of crap. Look what they did, If family and friends try to reach a loved one by breaking through the defensive wall or going around it, the addict may panic and reinforce the wall. That's kind of crazy. For example, a woman requested treatment for drug addiction because she had used up all accessible veins in her body. Her appearance on admission to the rehab center was dreadful. When she appeared significantly healthier 3 weeks later, the doctor remarked, "Cecilia, you're beginning to look good." And his comment was greeted by audacious explicitive. Yeah, beep, 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 But the following day, Cecilia came into my office and apologized for the insulting remark. "You don't understand," she said. "You said something positive to me. I don't know how to handle that. The initial treatment had at least made her aware of her provocative behavior, but it was months before she could accept a positive statement without discomfort. Without treatment, she would have continued to repel anyone who reached out to her. So it's possible that us addicts with our wall, if I were to like go knock on Bob's door right now and say, hey, let me in, chill on your couch, and let me get past this wall, he might panic and throw up a bigger defensive wall and say, get the heck out of my house, kind of a thing, through various means. And that's something we got to think about, I guess, approaching addicts. But then if you find yourself one that is having a hard time hearing positive things about yourself, if somebody gives you a compliment and you instantly kind of, you grimace and you want to say something negative immediately back to them, this is a little bit of proof of what we're talking about here, that you have very, very low self-esteem, which I'm sure you're probably already aware of. But now that you know that and you're completely aware of it, let's do something to change it. Somebody gives you a positive comment, say thank you, remember it, cherish it, capitalize on it, and move forward. And that's the cool part about treatment. That's why we do education here, so that we can make these things aware of ourselves. We can become aware of ourselves in this aspect and learn to become better people. Why? So that we can be happy. We're taking care of ourselves. This hour here is selfish, if you want to look at it that way, but it's selfish, not selfish, because we are here to learn about ourselves. We are here to take care of our minds. We are here to make ourselves better people for ourselves, which in turn just flows out better for everybody else around us. Mm-hmm. If we take care of ourselves, we can take care of them. If we're not taking care of ourselves, if I wasn't up here mentally learning, practicing, I couldn't take care of the rest of the stuff going on around here. It just wouldn't work. And during my drinking and alcoholism was huge proof of that.
That's that, taking the speck out of your own eye.
Mm-hmm. Spank that like button, Michael Teeter says.
In addition, we are self-absorbed in ourself, not trusting anyone who we think are going to put us down or hurting us.
Yep. Good point, Des.
Honey also has social anxiety, which stems from using still 2 years later, and the virus didn't help me.
No. No.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Yep. And yes, Teeter, we do recover better together.
And since you said that, Teeter, this book that I ordered, 2 to 3 weeks wait, get an email advice, the book was damaged, so they had to order another. Oh, that sucks. I would call them and bug them and say, give me that thing overnight.
That might run.
Uh-oh.
How's your eye doing there, Bob?
So,
okay, how's Princess?
We recover better together. I actually have that written right here in this book, Mr. Teeter, because the next little chunk we're going to talk about is the value of support groups. We can now understand both the necessity and the effectiveness of the anonymous fellowship. Associating with others who share the same problem is far less threatening than dealing with society as a whole. That's why we can come here, we can go to AA, we can go to NA, we can check ourselves into an IOP and feel comfortable around those types of people, our types of people, addicts and alcoholics, right? Because we've been there, we've done that, we're going through the same thing. In support groups, addicts do not have to fear that they will be rejected. They discover that not only are there many respectable people who were at one time active addicts like themselves, but also that many people share their emotions and some of their character traits. Wow, look at that person over there. He's successful, and he used to be running the streets like I did with heroin, and he used to be a meth addict, or he used to be a full-blown alcoholic. And on top of that, look at how much we have in common. We share the same type of emotional experiences. We got some of the same emotional problems. We got a lot of the same character traits. So that's comforting. They begin to better understand the defensive nature of the addictive behaviors as they see them in others, and they learn to identify them in themselves. That is key right there. They begin to better understand the defensive nature of addictive behaviors. Understanding addictive behavior, you can understand them now. as you see them in others, you start seeing them in others because you're learning, right? On his channel, we start educating, we start learning. We see it in me. You see it in me. Sometimes up here, I have little freakouts, and then you can go, oh, I do that kind of thing, and you start seeing it in yourself. You start learning to identify them in yourself. In the safe confines of fellowship meetings, addicts can begin to dismantle the defensive wall. Oh, I get it now. You start taking this wall down. At first, they take down the part of the wall that keeps out family and friends. So the first thing we usually do when we get out of our active addiction and into recovery, and we start getting our minds right, we start understanding these things, and with this huge barrier wall that we've built, we start letting it down, and friends and family can come look over the wall at us. Hey, how's it going? There they are. And we just gradually continue to do that as we work through our recovery. And then gradually we begin to let society in as a whole. The characteristic of addictive thinking are the tools the addict uses both in erecting the defensive wall and in maintaining it. The characteristic of addictive thinking, the characteristics, think about this, of addictive thinking are the tools. So just like we have tools in recovery, right? We got HALT. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Why am I feeling this way? We got pause, think, act before I do something crazy. On the flip side, there's the destructive tools that we had. We had tools in our addiction, and they're survival tools that helped us build these walls, right? Because it was a defense mechanism and survival at that point in our lives. The characteristics of addictive thinking are the tools the addict uses both in erecting the wall. So we have these tools to push people out, right? Whatever tools we're using. And then maintaining the wall. Oh, it's got a leak. Somebody almost came in. Let's patch that up. With proper treatment, the vicious cycle is interrupted. And as misconceptions are corrected in recovery, the entire wall can eventually be eliminated. So if you find yourself in this and you don't necessarily like it, I know that there's introverts and extroverts, and that's why I was saying earlier that this can get really, if I wanted to spend 2 weeks on this topic, we could get crazy with it. But know that because of our nature, our low self-esteems and stuff like that, we build walls. And sometimes when you get into recovery and you start craving that social aspect of things, you don't really enjoy the loneliness. You don't really, there's introverts, there's extroverts. There's different personality types. But just know that this is something that you can work on yourself, and you can actually start putting yourself into society after learning the tools and practicing them, that you can put yourself in a situation where you could possibly you get your feelings hurt, and learn how to deal and handle those situations without it being the end of the world and having to run back and hide in your house and say, oh, that person hurt me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Good night, Jake.
Good night, Jake.
Oh, I got to work too tomorrow.
Nice and early.
My first sober Father's Day in a long time as well, brother. Feels good, doesn't it? I got a hunch I'm not the only avoidant personality in the chat tonight. Oh, I've got a huge hunch. I'm pretty avoidance too. I leave the house to go to work. We go out and we play disc golf, or we go out and dink around. I got a neighbor. I'll go to his house. We go to the family's house here and there. But most of the time, if people want to interact with me, they always come over here.
It's true.
I've become more on the introverted side of life as the older I get.
That's Shauna.
Amen. I'm glad you do. So breaking it down, the root of the avoidant behavior is fear. There's always fear. When I get into the inventory, I always find fear back in there. Yeah, definitely. We're scared, aren't we? Fear of being hurt, fear of making a mistake, fear of being ready. Yeah, 100%. Good one. Bob, I don't know if you're like me, but when I read a chapter of a book, I use, and I was taught this a while back by one of my counselors. He says to look for the big idea. He goes, this guy's writing, 50 paragraphs in this chapter because he's trying to explain basically one thing. So always go into reading a chapter, trying to figure out what is the big idea. That's what it's called, big idea. Do you do that too? Because you just did it right there. Even being someone you're not is another. Oh man, who put that on Facebook today? I don't know if I saw it in our group or another one, but there's like a Chinese proverb that says we have 3 faces. We have the face that we go out and we show the world, our second face that we show our family and our close friends, and then the third face is the face that we have, that we know when we look in the mirror that nobody else will ever know. 3 faces. Murd, can you guess why he put that shirt on?
I think
No, you're
Dwight
not, Bob
knows.
Smith. No, you're not.
I think Dwight knows why I put this shirt on.
Yeah, Dwight knows for sure.
That's
Amen.
Bryson. Hi,
Right on, Bryson.
Sober Sunday.
Yeah, I like it too. So tomorrow we're going to be jumping into chapter 16 called Managing Our Feelings. Oh, let me grab that book, Bob.
Oh, Michael, about your pinon coffee. My stepdad and my real dad like pinons. So I ordered them some and sent it to their house for Father's Day. They better like it.
So, Bob, the next book we're going through is Addictive Personality by Craig Nacken. Understanding the addictive process and compulsive behaviors. So we're going through addictive thinking right now. The next one is going to be addictive personality.
Link, have you ever seen Scarface?
Nope.
I'm not even sure I've ever seen Scarface.
I've seen it. All right, so here's our NA just for today. It's called New Levels of Honesty. We have been experts at self-deception and rationalization. That's basic text, page 28. So when we come to our first meeting and we hear that we must be honest, we may think, well, now that shouldn't be too difficult. All I have to do is stop lying. To some of us, this comes easily. We no longer have to lie to our employers about our absence from work. We no longer have to lie to our families about where we were the night before, but not using drugs anymore. By not using drugs anymore, we find we have less to lie about. Some of us may have difficulty even with this kind of honesty, but at least learning not to lie is simple. You just don't do it no matter what. With courage, determined practice, the support of our fellow NA members, and the help of our higher power, most of us eventually succeed at this kind of honesty. Honesty, though, means more than just lying. The kind of honesty that is truly indispensable in recovery is self-honesty, which is neither easy nor simple to achieve in our addiction. In our addiction, we created a storm of self-deception and rationalization, a whirlwind of lies in which the small, quiet voice of self-honesty could not be heard. To become honest with ourselves, we first must stop lying to ourselves. In the 11th step meditation, we must become quiet. Then, in the resulting stillness, we must listen for truth. When we become silent, self-honesty will be there for us to find. So just for today, I will be quiet and still listening for the voice of truth within myself. I will honor the truth that I find. Got to be honest to be in recovery.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Big Hump's got some dang eye sweat. Said I swear if it wasn't for this hour, I'm a long list of dysfunction. But as attached as I've become, thank you all for giving and feeling the belonging.
Amen, dude. You do belong.
Good night, Tracy.
Good night, Tracy. Have a good night.
I have not let anyone in for a very long time. I had someone trusted with a rifle on my shoulder, stabbed me in the back. I can't trust people for a very long time.
Dang. Something, yeah.
Well, another thing about being honest, you must be honest to your counselor and God.
It's true. You got to be honest to that counselor.
Not sure that will change anytime soon. This group is the first new folks I have opened up to since 2012.
Wow, good on you, brother.
So I need
Baby
to talk
steps,
to him.
yeah. I mean, what is the saying that we say? Easy does it, right? In recovery, it's the same way. A lot of us recover at different paces, and a lot of us can go and run out there and put ourselves out in different situations faster than others. But who cares what other people's recovery looks like? Don't compare that to yourself. You just do what you got to do day by day, 24 hours a day, and easy does it. Do what you got to do what you can, and I'm proud of you for being here doing what you just did. That's a step in the right direction. You know what I mean?
Some encouragement there, Sapper. You're welcome, Bob.
Yeah.
Welcome, Log.
Ready?
I'm ready for bed.
God,
God,
grant me the
grant me
serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Amen.
Right on. Anything else, Lakey?
I know.
All right.
Alrighty.
All righty, y'all. We'll be back tomorrow to go over chapter 16. Until then, y'all do not put yourself in a
Ooh,
high-risk
donut.
situation. Happy Father's Day to everybody. And stay strong, work your program. And remember, we recover better together.
My brain's in survival mode. I know it.